Hey everyone, happy Friday. Thank you for joining me. My name is Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish, where we make lovely and quirky hand embroidery kits. And I'm here every weeknight at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, and it's a time that we can relax and craft together and work on a project for about an hour here. And we work on the projects from beginning to end so you can be part of the whole entire process. So tonight we are continuing the Splendid Sampler to Quilt Along. Here is the book for it. We started this yesterday, so we're working on the Coastline Sponge Cake right there. And I think we are going to finish it tonight, no problem. So last night we got that center area done. And tonight we got to add the other little triangle corners. And I love this block so far because it looks super intensely pieced, but it's really just made with two sets of strips sewn together and then cut in weird angles. So it's so easy. Like, it's way more easier than it looks like when you just look at the whole image, the block to get going. Because, like, look. Doesn't it look like there's 1,000 different pieces to deal with there, and angles and squares and all that? It's really not. It's just strips. So be sure to watch last night's if you want to see the first part of this over on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. But we will be finishing it up tonight, and it is still done with strips, the last part of it. So, all right, I'm going to flip you around. Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. All right, there's my mess from last night. There we are. Okay. Oh, Gretchen, so that 4 3/4, we did that last night. So that was when we trimmed, when we had this first side of this cut. There's instructions to trim one diagonal and then do the other. For that second diagonal, like, so this would be the edge that we had already cut. Then you line up the edge with the 4 1/4 mark on your ruler. So like that, and then that's how we knew how to cut this second edge. That's what the 4 3/4 was. So, all right. Oh yeah, I wore my hair down today, guys. Yes, so I have not cut it since since like 2 Halloweens ago. So if you guys remember, I chopped it like completely off basically. And so this has been growing without a haircut since Halloween 2017. So, all right, you guys. So the C strip between the E and F strips, and then press. So this is similar to what we did earlier down here. So, all right, we need the E, C, and F, and I labeled them beforehand because I was getting confused because I'm using such different colors than the example. So I labeled them as we cut them out. So E, C, and F. So this is the order that we sew these in tonight. So let's just start there. I'm gonna jump down to the sewing machine. Alrighty, here we are. I have my leader already on there. Okay. So the first 2 strips are these. So I'm just gonna fold the bottom one over this one. Line up those edges. Okay, I'm lining up that first point and the edge, and then we'll line it up here. And we're off to the races. All right, and I think, here's my stiletto. I like having my stiletto around to help hold things down. Now once I got it started, I'm gonna line up the rest of the edges. And there we are. Okay, and then let's do the rest of the way down. Oh, and you guys, it was a sad day the other day. When I was doing laundry, I shrunk my leg warmers, and I'm wearing so I'm wearing them as wrist things now, but I love these leg warmers just because, I mean, they were necessary in winter. Sometimes when I would just put those on, I would be good to go. But I accidentally shrunk them, and now I'm super sad. But I'm wearing them as like arm warmers today. It was pretty chilly today. And we had the fire going today, but sometimes when we have the fire going, it's cold everywhere else in the house. So I kept the fire on and put my little new wrist warmers on. All right. Ooh, this guy is not in here. There we go. Sorry for shaking you there a little bit, guys. All right, let's snip our first leader off. And all right, there are our first two pieces. Let's sew that third onto there. So I'm just putting right sides together again. This is just my white piece, so it doesn't really have a right side. But that yellow piece is our little piece that we have in the middle. So I just have to make sure that stays in the middle. Ooh, lost my stiletto here. All right, let's line up the rest of this. Okay, and get that ender in here again, the leader. This one's a little tricky. This fabric. So for my enders and leaders now, these things, I'm using other little squares that I cut out on our last Finish It Friday. So instead of wasting little sewing times, now I get to make, you know, I'm making half square triangles basically out of just my leaders and enders. All right, there we are. So let's press this. If it's like last time, it should be pressed open. Let's just double check. Yeah, press open. These arrows, the arrows going both ways means that they want the seams pressed open. So let's do that. I always kind of like pressing one way to get started. So I got my hot iron here. Press into one direction. Okay. And now let's try going like this. I will open up the seams. I'm going to try and open and do both at the same time. There we go. So I have both of the seams open now. I'm going to set my iron sideways and just try and open both at the same time. And ooh, that is working fabulous. Great. Ooh, I'm going to do that more often. Let's get off my rulers. Oh, that was slick. Okay. I like that. Did both of them at once. All right, and then let's just hit the front again. Make sure everything's, you know, that we're not folded over anywhere. Okay, there we are. That's our 3 strips sewn together. Cute, cute. All right, let's trim these out. I believe the instructions said trim them down to 4 inches. Yeah, we have a little bit of extra here too. There's 8.5 inches here. So the designer did give us, Caterina Rucella, the designer did give us some extra leeway, which is great. Then we can trim the ends. So 4 inches and 4 inches to 2 4-inch squares. So this should be 4 inches tall. And it looks like we are pretty dang close on that, which means that our seam allowances aren't too bad. So good. We're just about at 4 inches. Maybe a little shy, but I think we're fine. All right, so let's just make sure that we have a nice square edge. I'm going to line the bottom along one of these rule lines. And I'm just going to cross over the edge of another rule line here. So let's take our ruler and line it up. This is just to get a nice square edge. I didn't do this last night, and I think I want to do that today. Oh, Jane, I'm not wearing 2 sweaters. So this is just a thing. So this was my leg warmers that I accidentally shrunk. So I knit these like years and probably a decade ago. You can't even see the knit anymore. And I accidentally dried them. So they totally do not fit on my leg at all. I can't even get them over my foot, really. So I've just been using them for the past few days as little wrist warmers at my desk. But yeah, it was sad. I shrunked it up my poor leg warmers. That was sad. Those leg warmers were perfect. So I don't know. Oh, I was gonna show you guys my how far I got on my sheep knitting so far. I'll have to do that another night. But I wanted to. I think I'll have some extra yarn from that project. So I'm hoping I can maybe make new leg warmers just quickly out of that, because that's pretty big yarn. I'll show you guys that next week, because I'm getting farther on it. I had to learn a whole pile more knitting stuff, like how to do bobbles, how to do a provisional cast on. It's definitely a learning project for me, that knitting project. So I'll show you guys that on Monday. All right, we got our 2 4.5 or just 4-inch squares. Okay, cut the squares in half diagonally to get 4 triangles. So but look at this though. We're cutting, when these are facing the same direction, you know, like they are now, we're cutting one in this angle and we're cutting the other this angle. I think that's probably important. So keep that in mind. We're gonna cut one from here to here and the other from here to here. Okay, so let's give that a go. All right, so this one I'm gonna cut from here to here. So just diagonally, so I'm just connecting the diagonal ends with my ruler. Okay, so that one was this angle, and this one has to go this way. All right. Looks good. Yeah, if you guys want to, I'll put a link to it on Monday, but if you want to see what I'm knitting, it's a free pattern on pearl.com. I think it's just pearl.com. Maybe it's Pearl Soho, pearlsoho.com. So pearlsoho.com, and then just do a search for, I don't know, the sheep pillow. I'm sure it'll get you there. All right, center and sew the triangles to the center square and press. So we just make it look like this now. We're gonna have to line up some points though, I think. So let's take this. Let's just see what happens here. Okay. Ooh, this is where our design starts connecting. So I think, yeah, 2 are at the top because it was the same at the top. So when they meet, these 2 colors are the same as well. And then vice versa on the bottom. So like this. Yeah, we could have done this wrong. So like if I went like this, then I'd just be kind of sewing another strip together. So just make sure to keep an eye on what you're doing. But there, look, it looks like we did this totally intricate shenanigans here. All right, let's try and put these together now. This is going to be the trick. So in theory, we just fold these over. Oh, I think this might be actually way easier than I think. Oh, okay, good. I'm excited about this. So we need to sew this at a 45-degree angle. I was worried about getting these points to match up, but look what happens. We line up the edges, and both of those edges are straight, so we can just totally exactly line up those edges. So I'm going to just grab a clip. I can probably do this without a clip, but where do we got it? Here we go. But just for good measure, I think I'm going to clip them. And you know what? I might... we'll do one at a time. I was thinking I might clip all of them at once, but I think we'll do one at a time. So I was nervous about this part, but look, it's all just perfectly lining up. We don't even have to worry about it. I don't think. Yeah, it just wants to line up. Ha-ha. That's some fancy thinking they did here. Yeah, so as long as these seams, this seam is lined up with this seam anywhere along here, we should be able to sew this and they should match up. At least that's the theory here, right? So let's do this first one and we can change it up if we need to. So all right, back here. All right, get that guy on again. All right, sewing from one side down. So now this will cross over here. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about matching up the ends. We're centering it. So what we were really looking for is matching up these points there. Yeah, because we want this shape to match. That's kind of the design feature of this project. All right, line up that triangle. Okay, there we are. Okay. I'm going to remove this first clip. Actually, there we go. All right, that one's good. Let's remove this second one. Ooh, see, it gets caught on my foot there. I gotta just lift it up. All right, and then finishing it off to the end. Let's just make sure I'm lined up. All right, and let's get my leader back here. There we are. I'm so excited about these leaders. Okay. Snip this one. This guy's done. Now I just have to cut him in half, and let's see what this half square triangle is going to look like. Cute. So you get 2 of them out of each of these. Here's the other one. All right. Let's trim. So hopefully that went down smoothly. Let's take a look up here. Okay. So we should just be able to flip this back. And yeah, this one matched up perfectly. This one, man, I got a little off here. Oh, actually, once I opened it up, it was folded over a little bit like this, and I thought I didn't get that point. But once I just pull it open, then I'm right on that point. So okay, good. That is that one. So I think this is going well. I'm trying to think, should I iron it first? In theory, I could press this out, and it might actually make it easier to match up the next one. So you know what? Let's do it. I'll press them one at a time. So I believe they're pressed outward. Yep, they're pressed outward. Looking at that little arrow. So I'm going to just set the seam there for a sec and then press outward. So we'll get this nice and flat before we add another triangle to it, which I think is maybe a good idea. Ooh, that looks good though. Lovely, look how cute. Fun. All right, so let's do the same with this one. We'll just stay here. All right, This one I'm going to fold over again, and we're still worried about these points. So that's what we're going to use as our guide to line up. And again, we can just line up the edges. I probably don't even need to clip them. We should try one where I don't clip. So let's do this one where I just try and match them up beforehand. You know, we're matching up that seam right there. And then we'll try and match up this next seam on the sewing machine and see if we can do this without clipping it. Normally, I would want to clip just, especially if we're masking up or matching up points, but this is, again, unique because we have this seam as a guide, so we know that they're matched up. So it's a little different than if we, on other projects where we've had to match up seams. All right, so I'm kind of got this first one going. I think I'm going to keep my stiletto there to kind of act as a pin. Line up this edge and let's go for it. I think maybe a clip might be a little easier still. All right, let's line up this other one now. All right, I think I'm lined up there. Let's just extend it down the edge here. Yep, I think we're good. And then line up this edge. All right, and I need another leader. Let's use another fabric. Got to make another leader quick. I'm just putting a little diagonal in here. There we go. Now we got another leader ready. Little extra time to putz around with that, but again, we're gonna magically have a ton of quilt squares done. All right. Oh, yep, and I got one up here. Oh, this guy's done. This one's sewn on both sides. All right. All right, let's peek at this one. I think we're good. Let's press it. So again, we're going to press to the outside. Oh yeah, I could have sewn the opposite one on first. Oh well, I'm going around in a circle. I suppose it doesn't matter all that much. I was just kind of sewing the like pieces together, but it's coming together, cute. So if you did those horizontal lines for yours, now you should get this perfect miter in the center, and it's so cool. And I really wanted to do that, but I don't have any stripes in. I didn't pick out any stripes with all my little neutral fabrics here, which I'm bummed. Like if you look at some of these on the Splendid Sampler Facebook page and on the Penguin and Fish Crafters group, some of you guys have been doing that. So here you see, here's those lines, those horizontal lines. If you cut your strip parallel to those lines, then when you fold it, you get this cool miter, and it just is so neat. And I wish I could have done that, but instead I used a bright color. The brightest color I have, really, in the neutrals. So it would stand out a little bit yet, but still not the same. Not the same as how cool those stripes looked. I am going to clip these. It was just one less thing to worry about having them clipped. There's one. Yeah, I suppose if I did the opposite ends first, I could have, like if I did the top triangle and the bottom triangle, I could have pinned both at the same time, and then I could have pinned both of these at the same time, so that would have gone a little bit faster. I guess I wasn't thinking about it as a square opposites. I was thinking of it as a diamond and going, like making this shape first and then making the other shape. But yeah, that makes sense, Suzanne, to do the opposite sides first. It would have been less sewing. Not less sewing, but less kind of back and forth, I suppose. I could have pressed them both at the same time, pressed them both at the same time. We're adding steps this way, so oh well. Then I get to hang out with you guys a little bit longer tonight, right? All right, let's grab the stiletto. So I've clipped them this time, so it should be easier to just get started. There will be a lot of overlap, but remember, we're going to be trimming this down. We're more interested about those points, inner points matching. Oh, you don't have stripes either in yours? Yeah, you're doing a pretty neutral quilt too, aren't you, Nolene? Yeah. Yeah, I know. If I had time, I might have run to find if I had any stripes too. But honestly, I think if I would have had stripes, I would have brought them up with the rest of these neutrals. This is kind of my library of neutrals right here. Oh, hello, Kathy. Happy Friday. All right, let's get another leader started. Let's grab another color fabric. Try this one. Look at this weird, bright, odd fabric that I have no idea where it's from. I don't recall having a shirt that looked like this or anything. All of this is kind of cut up from scrap fabric, like old blankets or shirts. This was an old shirt for sure. But I don't know, there's a red, weird maroon piece. I don't know where that came from. It's going in a quilt, though, at some point here. I've separated these squares in lights and darks. I basically only have this fabric and that one with the little dots as light colors. All right, this one I have one more edge to sew up. Okay, let's press this and we'll do the last one. All right, ooh, I'm a little shaky here today. All right, again, press the top for a little sec and then fold it over. I don't think I checked the points in the last one. Let's see how our points are doing. Oh my gosh, look how complicated it looks. Ugh, so interesting. Oh man, I was pretty far off on this point actually. Oh wait, no, that's together. Weird, I'm looking at a weird angle. I kind of have to stretch it out. Maybe I should repress that later, or doesn't matter, who cares. That's looking good. See, with these points, I'm a little off on them. This is the one that I didn't clip, I think. I don't know. Maybe they're all fine. They're all fine. All right, let's get that last one on there. I'm going to clip him too, though. I think just the clipping makes it a whole little less energy used up for me. All right. There we are. Clips. I'm gathering a whole pile of them here, I think. All right, last one. Yeah, Irene, I think the green, well, is that a blanket though? I don't know. I think the white fabric with green dots for my leaders, I think that was a pajama or a sheet or something. Actually, I don't recall pajamas like that either. I don't know where I got this fabric. I know it's old cut up stuff, but like, why wouldn't I remember it? I don't know. All right. This white with the flower though, that I remember. That was a short sleeve. I think it's actually sleeveless, like a sleeveless button-up summery top that just was, I don't know, wearing out or something, or it just didn't quite fit right or something. That's where that one came from. And some of these plaids I recognize as like from my husband's shirts. But yeah, some of the other ones are mysteries. Oh my gosh, that's intense, Nolene. That's quite the block to sew up. All right, our last little bit. Ooh, and let's get a leader in here. This way. And I think it is about time to maroon my, or to maroon, I read the word maroon, to oil my machine again and stuff. The maroon, or my mom says that the maroon fabric looks like a dad's shirt. Well, that could quite be. So this might have been one of my dad's shirts, this one. This was one of my shirts. I do remember that one. And then, you know, then I have, this is my husband's shirt. I definitely recognize that one. And then this is the other fabric that we've seen so far. This, I don't know. It might have been, it's kind of flannelly. I bet you it was, but I had a lot of it. So I know that it was more than just pajamas. So it was either like a pajama pants or something. So it was either like a bathrobe or a blanket or something that was cut up. So this is what the bulk of my light is going to be. I only have like one more piece of this. So most of this quilt, whatever this quilt ends up being, most of it is going to be this green. But look, we're going to have like a magic half square triangle quilt going here. I love it. So that's all these pieces. These are the finished ones. Yeah, finished. Okay, this one's not done yet, so I'm going to leave him on top. Okay, let's finish this up. Give it the last little press. And next part is where you would trim it, but I don't think I'm going to trim mine because I've been saving the trimming until I do my quilt as you go. Because if I can leave an extra little edge on there, I've been trying to do that. Just because when I do the quilting, sometimes it pulls in on the fabric, and so my 6.5-inch square ends up being a little smaller sometimes. So I think I'm just going to leave it as is, but let's just take a look at it with the 6.5-inch ruler. I want to see how we did here. But it is cute. I love how intricate it looks. So I mean, doesn't it? I mean, just looking at this, you would never know that it was just 2 sets of 3 strips. So we had 3 strips here, and we had 3 strips here. That was it for this whole block, 2 sets of strips. And yeah, we got this cool shape in the middle. We get this cool connecting point. I mean, man, I think this would be so fun to do a ton of these for a whole quilt. Like you could do really, 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 really long strips, like the whole length of the fabric strips, and then just cut them up and make a bunch of these centers and then make a bunch of these. Oh, I really want to do that now, because I bet if you stick another one on here, you'll have like this square going in the quilt, and that could be really cool. Oh man, I want to do that now. Oh, I can't have another project though, but this would be an especially easy and good one if you wanted to extend it for a whole quilt. Oh wow, I am way off of 6.5 inches though here, guys. So something went wrong somewhere here. Yeah, I am a good 1/4 inch off. So I am going to need to add fabric actually to this. So let's just backtrack a little and see why that is. Oh, you know what? I might... Well, no, these are the same. So that centered wouldn't have mattered. Huh. I am not sure, you guys. Let's take a look at this again. Yours was short too, Lucy? Okay, so I definitely did something weird along here. And I know there was that one edge that was 1 3/4. Like this is 1 3/4, and so is this and this. So, but that wouldn't have affected this way. That made it good this way. Oh, I wonder if... Do you think maybe this was supposed to be 1 3/4 as well instead of 1 1/2? That would have made this bigger. Yours was short one way too. Let's see if we... Okay, 1 3/4. 1 3/4. So that would make sense there. I wonder, you guys, if this strip and this strip weren't supposed to be 1 3/4 as well, instead of 1 1/2. Because when we did these strips, so like, okay, we have these 3 strips, you know? These 3 strips, we did 1 3/4, 1 1/2, and 1 3/4. And that turned out perfect. A perfect 4-inch square. And I'm wondering if we needed to do that here too. Although our measurements were right, it was 3 1/2 and 3 1/2, but we would have lost 1/4, wouldn't have we? So, all right, here we go. Let's look at this for a sec. Yeah, so 3 1/2 inch segments. Yeah, cut the strip sets into 2 3 1/2 inch segments. So we did that here. So 3 1/2, but 3 1/2 and 3 1/2 sewn together, that gets us, well, 7, 6, 7, and then minus 1/2. That should have gotten us 6 1/2 inches though, shouldn't have it? Huh, where did we lose 6? We lost 1/4 inch here somewhere. Because the math on that makes sense. Yeah, because 3 1/2 and 3 1/2 would have been 7, but we lose 1/2 inch for the seam allowance, so we would have been back at 6 1/2. So this should be 6 1/2. So somehow that would have had to been done with really big seam allowances, and those don't seem odd. Oh, we did trim though. Did we trim off excess that we needed? I wonder. So what might have happened is, like on these edges, I see that I have a lot more on these edges than these edges. I wonder if this piece would have been here and this piece here, if that would have changed things. I don't know, you guys. We're gonna have to look at this again maybe and see what went wrong, do you think? Do you think it had something to do with the way you cut the diamond shape? I don't think so, because that was, unless that should have been cut to 4 1/2 inches instead of 4 3/4, but I don't know. It looks right. Maybe the bottom triangle needs to be bigger. So one thing I'm noticing is that there is excess on this side. Yours is close enough, but follow from point to point, it's 6 1/2 inches, but you lose those points because of the diamond. So it was 6 1/2 inches, but here, let's look at the back. Oh yeah, 6 1/2 from here to here. You're right, we were at 6 1/2. But it's how I sewed these triangles on somehow that we lost it. So if I look at the back where it's cut right here, there to there is right. So maybe I didn't center this enough, but if I if I would have just gone on centering it and not gone on matching these lines, then those wouldn't be together. So I'm wondering if literally just like switching some things around and we would have gotten there. I don't know. It's because I didn't sew opposite. Oh, it has nothing to do with the measurements? It's because I didn't sew this one and this one first and then these two after? Really? Do you guys want to see? We got, how are we doing on time? We have like 15 minutes here yet. Should we get the seam ripper out and see if we can adjust it? This is kind of a fun one to maybe do that with. I don't ever do that, but I'm kind of curious. I think I want to give it a go. We're doing it. We have some time. It's just too confusing. I'm like, why isn't it working here? All right. Gosh, I haven't seam ripped anything in ages. I'm more of a let it be person than a seam ripper. Okay, so let's just make sure we don't lose the spots that they are in, though. All right. This started here. There's a magic thing with a seam ripper where you just get the first part started and then you put the ball side down. You sewed opposite sides short or first and they were still short. I'm not sure it's opposite sides. I think it's just, come on, let's go this way. There we go. I'm wondering, I kind of want to mark these how I had them. I'll just try and not move while I cut them out. Come on, dude. There we go. I don't want to be too aggressive because I don't want to accidentally cut into my fabric. Measure your seams and check if they're 1/4 inch. That's fine. It's not the seams because I'll show you why. Hold on a sec once we get this. Come on, last bit. There we go. It's not the seams. Hold on. Let's get this one. It says to center the corner. Yeah, it says to center the corner, but then how do we match up these edges? That's what I'm trying to figure out. And I have a theory. I just want to take these apart first. Okay, last of this one. Okay, so here's where they all originally were. I want to start there just so we can get a picture. So this center is 6.5 inches. So if we measure like this from top to bottom, we are pretty much right at that 6.5 inch mark. So we know that it is, we're fine with the 6.5 inches. So we know that it's not this, is what I'm saying. So I'm curious. Yeah, see if we center it, like if I'm centering, well, we can keep this folded over. If I'm centering this, then our edge isn't matched up, like this isn't matched up to this, right? So I'm wondering if I needed to, like what would happen if we rotated these around. Does that do anything? It's kind of lining it up. Matching up these seams again. In theory, that shouldn't do anything, right? But if it lines up with this bottom edge, see, here's the thing. Oh man, I had to have to do such a scant edge to get it to match though. Yeah, I'd have to do a lot smaller than my 1/4 inch. Yes, but you'll lose those points when you add the corners. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think switching that around really did anything, but I think I just got to sew a super duper scant edge, but that just seems so odd. Like I don't really have to up here, but once I get down to here, it really does need to match right on the edge, doesn't it? All right. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe these triangles, if I were to do this again, I would maybe make this strip, the strip that was like, here, let's take these two. The strip that was like, oh, that was the wrong one. Like this. I would have maybe even made this one and this one bigger. Oh, but then we wouldn't have been able to get the diagonal. You know what? I think the instructions are probably just right, and we just have to work on our edge here. So here's what I'm thinking. First of all, I'm going to just press this flat again, just so it's a little bit easier for us to place. I am going to do it opposites, although I'm not positive that that's going to change anything. What I am going to do is I need to make sure that when this folds, that it is in line with my bottom edge here. In the Splendid Sampler one, we had to do a lot of scant 1/4 inches. I think I am still doing scant 1/4 inches, though. These aren't full 1/4 inches. Let's get rid of our little thread here. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to put these together again. All right, let's get a clip out. I'm going to still line up those edges like I did earlier. The square was a bit too small before you cut it diagonally. Yeah, but that's, so we got these bottom edges, and that was supposed to happen, I think. So what I'm going to do is I need to make sure, I'm going to get close so you guys can see this. I need to make sure that when I'm going to sew along here again, but I need to make sure that where I end, you see this flat edge here? We got a flat edge at the bottom, and it kind of has a point there and a point there. My sewing needs to stop, needs to line up. I think I should go this way. Here we go. Here's what's going to fix this. Okay, I'm going to sew upside down. My edge needs to stop right at that point. So when I fold it over, it's in line. Like I need this in line with that edge, right? So I got to end right at that point. And actually, I'm going to start at that point. And then this end doesn't matter so much because there's so much excess, I think. Yeah, I think these bottom edges are important. See, this one's even better. See how there's a flat edge? I think that's important. So I'm going to flip this around this way. You see what I did? Last time I sewed it like this. Now I'm going to sew it like this so I can get started right on that edge. And it looks like I did. It looks like I veered a little bit bigger at the end where my last part was sewing. So all right, let's do that. Yep, it doesn't take much for it to add up to be too small. That is for sure, Suzanne. Yeah, and it does look like I may have veered a little bit. So I'm going to flip, first I'm going to flip these around just so that the flat end is down since we flipped our fabric around. Okay, so this is the important part now. I got to start on that flat edge, that corner of the flat edge. I think this is going to solve our problems here, you guys. So I might have a really small seam allowance there, but that could just be from me cutting a little weird. Now I'm going to go back and try and get my normal seam allowance here. And I am trying to do like a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. So scant 1/4 inch seam allowance just means you're like just a hair shy of a 1/4 inch. So not a full 1/4 inch, just shy. So if this edge is my 1/4 inch, I'm just tucking it in a little bit more. Okay, get this guy up here. All right, so let's take a look at this. All right, so I started, so you can still kind of see that flat edge. You'll be able to see it better on the other side, but I started right there this time. And look how far off I was the first time I did it. So now I started right on that point and then got back to my 1/4 inch. And I think now when I flip this, I should, it should fold. Yeah, see, okay, so I folded it up and see how now we're in line with that edge. So I think that's gonna do the trick there, you guys. So let's, it'll be easier to see on this other side. So let's take a look at that. We will sew opposite sides this time. Again, I don't think it matters so much that we go opposite, but it does help speed up our pressing because I can press both at once. But you know, I gotta press this flat again for make it easier. Ooh. Okay, so let's match up. I'm going to match up the lines first, those middle lines. All right, I want to make sure that this is all in the right spot again. Yep, okay, fold right sides together. Okay, line up that. Oh my God, these are slippery. There we go. All right, and then this point here. All right, and now again, I'm gonna have this side up. So here's where we gotta match it up again. So I need this to start. So this point looks a lot better. Let me just get it flat here. For this to work, I need this point. So I need to kind of scooch this over a little bit. I need those points to match up. So I need to start right, see this flat edge? I need to start right at that first point on that flat edge. So just down there. I think that will work for us again. I think this might be the fix. I'm hoping so. Oh, this is a different stiletto. I got it at the same time. It was a gift. But I usually use that blue one, just, I don't know, because it's around, but it's hiding somewhere. I don't know where it is. And I saw this one there. I just cleaned up this area, and I'm sure it's somewhere readily available. I just don't know where. All right, I am doing that scant 1/4 inch again. I have my fingers crossed too. I'm hoping this works this time. Ooh, I gotta start another leader here. A little extra time for that. Well, hopefully it's solved, Debbie. We'll see. Yeah, the thing is we don't, I'm thinking, would it matter if we cut this middle one a little bit bigger? Like instead of 4 3/4, when we did that 4 3/4 measurements, if we did 5? But no, because then it wouldn't be a square anymore. It would be like more oblong, so that wouldn't have worked either. So I think we're doing the right thing here. All right, let's double check this now. All right. So I think, yeah, we're not quite in line there. That's still just a little shy, but maybe with the next one. It wasn't quite scant enough there yet. But I think this top one, I think that one I did well. Yeah, I think we're in line there. So let's press these, and then we'll get those other two sides. So this is the benefit of sewing opposite sides first, because we get to sew two things at once and then press it open later. So it saves us a little bit of time. I don't do this often. Rip something out and try it again. So this is fun. We gotta deal with a little mystery. And I think, yeah, it's just a matter of really working that scant 1/4 inch. So here you can tell I'm a little off still, because if we look on this side, here's that top edge right there. Oh, I think we're actually pretty lined up with it. Oh yeah, I think we're pretty well lined up. And this one too, if we remove that dog ear, then that's pretty lined up. That's what we were missing last time. Those two weird flat edges. So it's not the case on this side. We got nice points on this side, but this is from last night where we trimmed the square. We on purpose, I think, ended up with these flat edges there. And that's kind of what we're using to line things up with tonight. But how are these middle areas? Yeah, that's still lined up, but look how much more fabric you can see. Like there's a good at least 1/8 of an inch there that we gained by doing a slightly more scant 1/4 inch. Ooh, this one I didn't sew very well. Ugh, this one's pretty off, but oh well. Oh well, we're leaving it off. It's a battle scar. All right, there. So I want to match up these and these. So I haven't pressed these open yet again. Let's do that. Yeah. A scant 1/4 inch test. That's what this one was about, unexpectedly. Okay, so this one went here. Okay, we'll fold over. I'm going to pin these all at the same time too. So, all right, first I'm going to line up these edges again. Line up that seam. Here we go. I'm going to flip them around. Yeah, I know. Usually I stick with that 80%, but this wasn't just messing up, I don't think. This was like a mystery that needed to be solved. It wasn't just, yeah, that's good enough. And we had most of the time I would have just said, meh, good enough. But yeah, this time we had some time left, and that was a pretty big gap. And it wasn't so much that like, oh, that's such a big, I lost a 1/4 inch, that's so bad. It wasn't really about that for me. It was about what did we do wrong that we were off that much. So that's what I wanted to figure out. Okay, so these guys are clipped. Now again, this is where I need to make sure that I'm starting my seam, like remove the dog ears, I'm starting my seam right at that flat point because I need to, when I fold it open, I need it to start at that flat point. And then same thing on this other one that we clipped up here. So I need to start my seam over here on this flat point. So, all right, let's sew these 2 edges and we'll be done. And I flipped that square upwards again so I could see the flat edges here and here. Because those are what I'm lining up with now. But again, I'm gonna try and sew the whole length, that scant 1/4 inch. So it's gonna be at the end here. So I just have to pay attention all the way through to the end. Get the stiletto out. Oop, make sure edges are lined up. Okay, scant 1/4 inch. Remove that first one. Line up that second one, and now here's where let's line up the edge, but here's where I want to aim for that point right there. So this is gonna be super scant here, which is fine. And I think I'll just grab this guy from the end here. All right, and that other side, same deal. All right. Yep, definitely, Leslie, there are always mistakes to be had, that's for sure. Okay, so now here's where I line up for, see that straight edge? I'm lining up for that point here. I need to end on that. Okay, oop, I need another leader here. Let's get this guy in here. Well, I'm out of all that pretty blue floral fabric. I just have this goofy green dot flannel something something. It's really stretchy too, so who knows what this quilt is gonna end up being like. But that doesn't matter. It's meant to be a scrap quilt. It would have just been garbage, you know? This is garbage fabric. Meant for the landfill fabric that we're turning into something, so I feel good about that. Okay, scissors right here. Okay. Now let's press this and see if we end up with a 6.5 inch square, so, or at least a 6.5 inch square edge here. Okay, and again, we're pressing outward. Oh, I definitely gained a lot of fabric here on the edge, I can tell already. And we'll take a look at that again too. Yeah, I gained a lot of fabric here. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. Let's get straight up here. Okay, so look at where my original fold was to the new one, how much fabric I gained. Same with this side, you can tell. And down here, and and then we can line up here the edge. Still a little bit shy on that one, but I think not. Oh, and maybe a little shy here too, but not nearly like before, I don't think. So let's here's the judgment day right here. All right, we're still a little bit short like I thought, but not nearly as short, I don't think. Let's see. Yeah, I think we got another like 1/8 of an inch out of it. So we're still totally short though, which is kind of a bummer still. We did gain some. I want to measure it from the back again. Yeah, it does look like, man, I should have even been a little more scant, huh? Yeah, look, we are still quite a bit off. Well, we gave it another go, you guys. I think you just need to be really, really scant. So like how far I am here, I should have just done that for this whole last edge. So just keep that in mind. I mean, as long as these are matched up when you sew, just be like just super scant. But I think we'll be fine still. I mean, once we sew it into our final thing, like I have, like here are the borders for that are going to go around these blocks. I can just be like extra scant on this side here. So I think we'll be fine still. We'll make it up, but here we are. I still think it looks super pretty. I love these shapes in there so much. And again, I love how simple of a scheme it was. Just the strips, 2 sets of strips can make it. But yeah, I don't know. I still want to try it again and maybe just get even more scant all the way around and see if that helps. Like, I wonder if these needed to be sewn a little bit further apart. I don't know. We'll see. But for now, I think we are done, and I really love it still. So technically, I could trim it down, trim down these edges and everything now, but I'm leaving it a little bit bigger just for my quilt as you go later. So all right, I'm gonna flip you around and we'll call it an evening here. There we go. Hello. Oh, Lucy, you're gonna be doing a marathon sewing this weekend. That sounds amazing. Oh, you like this one? Oh, that's sweet. So here we go. I love it. I still wish I would have had like a stripy fabric for this, but all in all, I think it's really pretty still. And again, just kind of magic that you can get just out of sewing strips together, such interesting blocks. But yeah, scant, scant, scant all around. The center square a tish bigger, and yeah, scant quarters. So yep, I definitely would give it another try, though. I really like this block. And again, I think putting a bunch of them next to each other in a quilt would look really, really cool. So this might be one I look at again one of these days. Not for this, but just for the sake of like making something really quick. I think it'd be kind of fun just to cut a lot of long strips together and see how many blocks we can come up with. Like a little pillow or something would be fun. So awesome, you guys. Thanks again for joining me. I will be back on Monday at 8:30 p.m. Central here again on Facebook and the Penguin and Fish page. And I will get this up on YouTube at Penguin and Fish Movies. So if you wanna rip some seams with me again, you can head over there. So have a great evening, and I'll see you Monday. Good night.